This is the MTPredictor weekly market update for April 21st. Want to go kind of quick this evening, take you through the markets here as we got a lot of ground to cover. We can see this is the weekly chart of the Dow. This is actually the futures contract for June. But we hit that major resistance here that we talked about, just shy of that 15,000 level. You see this level goes all the way up, basically almost to 16,000. We'll take a look at that area in a minute. So we got a nice fat red seller's candle there. We did have a high volume spike come in on the weekly. STF is showing maybe more strength to the upside. But what we're looking at, if we kind of drill down to the daily chart here and see this peak here, came in as a wave 5 here. Let me just pull the, you can see though we hit the major resistance here. This is the weekly resistance. And so this correction, typically we get back to the what we call the wave 4 decision point, right around 14,200. Because we have that weekly, the STF on the weekly chart is into the strength band at the top, tells me that the pullback here may be shallow. We may not be able to achieve that 14,200. If we do, market needs to make a decision there. At 14,200, what's the low end of that? Well, 14,000. What's the low end there? That is 14,001. Let's call it 150. Well, call it 100. 14,100 or 14,200 area. If that area gives way, so we get a close below this area, whatever that low gets taken out, then we may be in full-blown correction mode. If this area holds as support, then the trend which was up prior should continue up. 15,000 would be kind of your next test. You'll have a resistance area just below that, around almost 14,900, and then 15,000 is the actual area where the minimum wave 5 target would come in. But like I said, we hit this weekly major resistance there, and that's things have kind of fallen off from there, which is typical as we may correct back to that 14,200 area. If we look at the S&P, again, hit its resistance area there. You see the next major resistance level above there. The unbalanced volume still holding in there, no major divergence or anything there. STF not quite into the strength band on the S&P, but if we go to the daily chart here, again, this also went wave 5 up on the daily chart, and again, it's very typical. We see a minimum correction back to the wave 4 DP right around the 1520, just above 1520 there. So we got pretty close to that last couple weeks. Again, if this area holds as support, the trend which was up prior should continue up. If it gives way, the tendency is that this whole 5-wave pattern up is going to get corrected. So that's why I say if this area gives way, then we may be in for the full-blown correction there. Did have a Hindenburg omen signal last week. It's not been confirmed yet, so nothing else there. We'll see. And then NQ finally. This one, again, struggling. It did take out the wave 2. That wave 2, potential wave 2 area. We got to close above that area. We took out the high, which told us that they should test this prior swing high here, which is the wave 5 high where the DP is. And then it's as the other markets have come into resistance, this market sold off as well. The next resistance level there, just around 2,900, and another high volume spike coming there. No strength on the STF to the upside here, so it's been the weaker market. Again, here's Apple has wanted to bring this in as the NASDAQ is struggling in that area. We can see on the weekly chart, of course, Apple again went wave 5 up, same tendency. just like we see the E-minis in wave 5 up on the daily charts. Apple on the weekly chart was wave 5 up. Tendency as it corrects back to this wave 4 DP, and we talked about this area holds as support, then the trend which was up prior should continue up. But if they take it out to the downside like Apple has, then we go back to the bottom of wave 1. Oops. Here's the wave 1. We go to the bottom of that, take our decision point, and again that projects a target for Apple right around the 260 262 area is the top of that area there. There was that hope on the daily chart that Apple had broken above the trend line there, but now has closed back below it, and the DP long signal here on the daily chart also had a little 5-wave pattern down. So again, we anticipate the correction should be back to the wave 4 DP. It didn't make it. We made a new low below that prior low. So again, not looking good there. High volume spike came in, and we exceeded that to the downside, which tells us that there was the selling was accelerated to the downside. So and then the other, if we look at gold here, again we've had our triangle set up for a while here. We got the break through the triangle. Here's your from the top to the base of the triangle here, and then the projection. So based on that projection, we'd have lower to go, but we did get a high volume spike that came in. We got a blue buyer's candle to close, so obviously they came off the lows there to close back above this blue line is the 200 period moving average on the weekly chart, to close back right at anyway that, or just above that area there. Let's see, what was the close there? Okay, 1395. Yeah, actually closed this just below the 200 period. Actually closed just below. All right, so we got to see there was buyers stepping in here, as evidenced by the buyers overcoming the sellers. So we'll see if they get back above the 200 period. And we've seen these similar corrections of 20% or so. You had one here back in 2011. Of course, in 2008 we had this is where the market was crashed for 2008, and then the major buy signal around the 200 period. This one was a little over 20%. Had another one back here. This was 20%, about breakdown there. So we've seen these before, and you can see obviously the market did. Many did take advantage of the bottom there, and market continued that bull trend higher. So we'll see. We'll see. I think this was another opportunity where there was a change from taking things out of the hands of the retail folks into the official side of the ledger, if you will. In order to get somebody to sell something, you have to convince them that they don't want it, and I think that's kind of what this is all about here. Germany wants their gold back, and we've told them that it's going to take us 7 years to get their gold back. When I hear my gold dealer says he could have their Germany's gold within a week, and so I think there's you look at all the gold leasing and all that goes on by the central banks. I think it's them getting that back, getting ready to accumulate gold, to kind of wrap up these leases and repatriate that gold back to Germany. I think we're going to see a lot of this kind of stuff happening. So, but we'll see the divergence, the great divergence that's happening. We talked about last week in the weekly market update, is that the demand, even though they're selling paper gold here, the demand for physical gold, the bullion, the bars, is just through the roof, record highs. So there's a huge divergence going on. We'll see how this gets resolved, but we'll watch here. SDF is strong to the downside there, so we could get another leg down. We'll have to watch this week. If we get a blue buyer's candle to close this week, then we may move back in the upward direction there. This low may hold. So we'll see. It may retest this bottom of the triangle here, and then we'll have to see what happens in that area, if they're going to roll over again or if they're going to be able to close back in that area, and something similar to what we had here, where prices obviously recovered and then on to higher highs. So interesting times there. Okay, I was going to take a look at oil and the euro and some of the other stuff, but unfortunately those charts went down. Again, just keep your eye the VIX. We had a low come in on the VIX here, and that tells us that volatility may be picking up in the weeks ahead. That target for the VIX at 24.75, and so we'll keep an eye on that. And then of course back to the here's the Dow here, and this is kind of the bigger picture 25-year chart here. You see this broadening pattern where we're getting a succession of higher highs and lower lows. That forms that kind of megaphone or broadening pattern. It is a topping pattern, but you see the here's where we are currently, and you can see the top of the resistance trend line there would put us back in that 16,000 range. Now we're in major resistance here, right around this 15,000 level. The DP level we looked at on the chart there. So we'll see if we get correction, maybe shallow, or a pullback, maybe shallow. If they take out those wave 4 DPs on the daily chart, then we may get a full-blown correction from here. But if not, ultimately I think we're heading into the top of this broadening formation. So we'll go ahead and leave it there. And just as a reminder, if you haven't yet, you can get the free PDF at the website mtpredictor.us. That's the introduction to MTPredictor. And you can see the software, how it works, what these automatic trade setups are. Works both end of day and real time. What these colored support and resistance areas are, how they're computed. The basic trade setups that the software provides, how to trade those, as well as the advanced trade setups. Then you can poke around the website. This was the webinar that we did on Thursday in trading the euro, just going through a month's worth of trades there, and the small losses with large wins, and how that comes out. And then if you want, at the top here under software, you can check out the different versions of the software, including our new trade module for the add-ons for NinjaTrader 7. And then under the webinars tab, if you just click on the video training, there's a series of short videos here that you can go through that will tell you, explain what is a good wave C pattern, what is that good 5-wave pattern, the high volume spikes that we look at, how we determine if professionals are stepping in long or short. The trading advice here is some of the more advanced concepts. The Holy Grail trade, if you want to check that out, that's the lowest risk, highest reward trade you'll find. And then the advanced or additional videos here are just the basic trade setups, how you use the software, kind of when you get it out of the box, so to speak. So I'll leave you with that then, and we'll come back and do it all again next week. So have a good trading week, everyone. We'll see you back then.